Former DA provincial chairperson of the Northern Cape, Andrew Louw, is now ActionSA's premier candidate in the province. Louw, who once served as an MP, says that his party will bring the ANC in the Northern Cape to its knees in next year's election. According to Louw, the party's support base in the least populated province boasts 8,000 members. He says if he becomes premier, he wants to introduce ethical leadership, fix unemployment crisis and invest in education. Louw has been unveiled in Johannesburg as the party announced premier candidates across the country.
Is growing very fast in the Northern Cape. And for me, that is very pleasing. To date, as we speak, I've started in September, 26 September last year to be specific. To date, we are sitting with a membership of slightly over 8,000 to date. And in my hometown, in Kimberley, where I was born, we are sitting with a membership of 4,200 people. Out of that, we are sitting with 33 wards. 26 of them have already been launched. And the rest of them, they are ready to be launched. As we speak today, now, we'll be launching another 2 branches in Kimberley, my hometown. People are rocking up. You know, we don't need to transport people to come to our branch launches. We gave them notice according to our procedures in our interim constitution. We give them notice about, and we inform them about the branch launches, and then people would come up. We form quorums easily. It's not difficult to go and beg people to get them, to go fetch them at home to come and so on. And those are some of the things that really keeps me going. And those are the things, when I look at it, I can see that there is a real appetite. There's an appetite for something fresh, an appetite for something new. And ActionSA has become that something new that people are so much looking forward to. It will be a groundbreaking moment for us come to elections 2024. At the moment, it is a given that the Northern Cape province is up for the grabs. It is ready to be taken over. And we as ActionSA, we will become that anchor tenant of that coalition that will be in the Northern Cape province or elsewhere. We will be that anchor tenant that will make sure that it happens. But for now, we go for the kill. That is what we're looking at.
All right, Andrew Louw now joins us in the studio for more. Very good evening to you, sir. Thanks very much for joining us here on SABC News.
Good evening, and thank you for having me here.
You're most welcome. All right, well, was it your expectation then to be selected as ActionSA's premier candidate in the Northern Cape?
Well, not in the least. Well, at the end of the day is the party's highest decision-making body, which is called the Senate. They're the people that would actually decide who each premier candidate would be of each province. So being the provincial chairperson of a province does not necessarily or automatically make you then the premier candidate of that particular province. So there's a process that needs to be unfolded. And at the end of the day, the prerogative lies completely with the highest decision-making body, which is the Senate of our party.
Yeah, a big responsibility, obviously, that that ActionSA has entrusted you with here. It seems that you are ready. You've already made quite some bold statements. You speak about the ANC and the fact that you're ready to boot the ANC out. Everybody wants to go for the ANC. What exactly is your plan there?
Well, thank you very much, firstly, to afford me the opportunity to be here tonight. It's a given fact that when you look at the statistics that I've referred to earlier on today, that the ANC is dropping down in terms of percentages. And I think the last election of 2021, that was really the groundbreaking moment, because they've dropped down with 11%. And that is significant. Because when you compare historically where they're coming from and where they are right now, it is a given. They are standing now at 50.5%, which means that now than ever before, the Northern Cape province is ready, and it's ready for something fresh, something new. It's ready for a takeover. It is an ideal opportunity now for all opposition parties, and that is why, as ActionSA, we're not going to wait for an invitation. We're going to hit the ground running. We're going to make sure that we go out there, and we're going to make sure that we persuade people and try to give them something that they've never seen before. And what is important for me, or something that is very fascinating for me, which I haven't seen in the past, is the fact that when we convene our meetings, and here I'm specifically referring to our rural parts of the province, where many politicians, you will never see them in those areas because the infrastructure is in a pathetic state. Roads are non-existent. in those areas like your rural Kuruman, people are really rocking up to our meetings in big numbers. And it's very encouraging because these are actually poor people. These are people who are destituted, people who are hungry, people that they don't have jobs, people don't have access to opportunities. Yeah. Now, it's people that actually keeps you going, people that actually make you to think that, you know what, here is an ideal opportunity here. And something that I've also checked that's happening now in the province is that the appetite for people, especially young people, they are not interested in politics, not anymore, because of the many promises that they were given election after election. Now here is an opportunity where we need to get into that space. And as ActionSA, we definitely are getting into that space. We are reaching out to young people. We are making sure that they know what our offer is.
Yeah, well, the Northern Cape has the smallest population, I believe, sitting at 1.3 million. So your job would perhaps, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, would perhaps be easier than say, your Gauteng. Even though we hear of the many challenges in the Northern Cape, one would think that it would be an easier province to handle, given the sheer numbers, given that there's less numbers. How would you use, and I would assume this would be to your benefit or this advantage, to actually then make things work and to address those kinds of challenges that you're then talking to us about?
Well, despite the fact that we might be a small province in population, but in terms of distances that people have to travel and many other challenges, I think we are actually a province that needs a lot of work that still needs to be done. And I think at the moment, what needs to be done here is, and it's something that is very worrisome to me. I will be embarking also on a listening tour starting from tomorrow. I will be going out there and reaching out to communities and listen to what real challenges and issues are. But because of the 43% unemployment young people in the province, they are the market that I need to speak to, firstly. Because then obviously one would ask the question to say, what is it in for me? What is ActionSA going to put on the table so that myself as a young person, you can actually create that appetite again for them to go out there and for them to be able to go out there and to vote. Registration weekend is around the corner. We need to start with the basics to get that right first. We need to get to the point where we need to encourage them to go out so that they need to register before they can vote. And one of the fundamentals is to say that unless people start realizing that, obviously you are aware that we are surrounded by a lot of mine houses in the province. Right. Now, it's worrisome, despite the fact that we're having so many mine houses in the province. Unemployment amongst young people is still so high. We need to ask the question, but why? Well, truth be told, the mine houses, government have actually abdicated their responsibility to the mine houses. And let me explain. Many of these mines, their primary responsibility is to create jobs and to stimulate the economy in the province. But at the moment, many of the mines where they operate in a municipal area, they have to look after fixing the potholes. They have to look at things like buying ambulances. That is not their core function and responsibility. They're doing that because they are serving a community. As mine houses, they also have a social responsibility towards the people that they serve.
You talk about the mine houses. There's actually, in fact, more business coming into your province, isn't it? Now that green hydrogen is being introduced, and I understand that there's plenty of business coming into the province anyway. And I wonder if you'd be engaging then with those business people who are coming in from other countries that are wanting to take advantage of what the province has to offer that makes it work when it comes to the introduction of green hydrogen.
Indeed. But I believe that charity begins at home.
Yeah.
Before we can even get to that one, we need to get our house in order first. And by so doing, it would actually make it much more easier for other people also to come into the province and obviously, explore into those kind of markets.
Yeah.
While we're inviting, and while I think it's always a good methodology to make sure that, you're getting people from outside that will come and invest in the province, but also those investors would like to see return on investment. Mm-hmm. If I may, I would like to complete this one to say, it can't be in an ActionSA environment. I will make sure that firstly that government must take responsibility of what they need to do. The mine houses, one of the issues that we're sitting with now at the moment is that we've got a brand new university, Salt Lake University. We've got our TVET colleges and we've got our colleges. Now, the problem that we're sitting here with, we need to start also making sure that we match the skills gap in the province. We're sitting with so many minds. We're sitting with so many young people who are unemployed. We're sitting with so many young people who don't get bursaries, despite having these minds. We must start saying to the minds, and that is where ActionSA is coming in, to say to these minds, do your business, and that is creating jobs and making sure that you also adhere to your social responsibility. But at the same time, we must also make sure that we keep government accountable to become the enabler. Government should become the body that will create a conducive environment where a private sector can create jobs, because government does not create jobs. It is a private sector that does that.
You also spoke about wanting to introduce, that was quite interesting, and I picked this out just because I wanted to talk more about it. You say you want to introduce ethical leadership. I would assume that you say you want to introduce it because it's been lacking. What do you mean by that, and what is your definition of what ethical leadership is?
Well, I think depending on which angle we're looking at. But firstly, one of the issues is ethical leadership means we must be able to walk our talk. We must be able to make sure that, as leaders in our community, we serve our community. And we must serve them with dignity, we must serve them with pride, and we must serve them with respect. And most importantly, the Northern Cape is also one of the province where corruption is really one of it's killing opportunities from our young people. And ethical leadership means you can never be corrupt on the one hand, and on the other hand you call yourself a leader, because at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, there's a contradiction between the two. We should be able to say, before you even expose people in leadership positions, we must, and that is where ActionSA would call for lifestyle audits. As a leader, you should be able to be beyond reproach. You should be able to lead by example. You should be able to lead people, and ultimately, people, you must earn your respect from the community. You can only do that once you're prepared to walk the talk and making sure that you take people along with you.
All right, Mr. Louw, great pleasure having you with us here in studio. Andrew Louw is of course, the Premier candidate just announced today for ActionSA in the province of the Northern Cape. Thanks very much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right.